The Chicago Bears have been very busy over the past few days as they've been requesting interviews with multiple GM candidates and head coaching candidates as well. What's going on, guys? I'm back with the Chicago Bears news update videos, which there's going to be a lot of news coming your way in the next couple weeks because the Bears are in the midst of one of the biggest head coach GM searches in their history. Okay, this is one of the most important off seasons for that reason, right? Because we finally have what we think is our potential franchise quarterback. We cannot screw this up. Now, George McCaskey gave a press conference yesterday talking about the future of this team, where he wants it to go. Now, that press conference went horribly. Okay, he did about as bad of a job as an owner possibly can do in a press conference because that's how incompetent he is as an owner. Okay, nobody was motivated or optimistic after watching that presser, but it seems like the team that he's assembled to help him in the search is actually helping him identify some pretty good candidates for GM and for head coach. Okay, according to everybody that follows the NFL, the Bears have requested to interview, some of the best minds in the NFL so far, especially at the GM position. If you talk about that team that they assembled, so the main guy, leading the search is Hall of Famer Bill Polian. Polian was a GM in this league for a very long time. He hired some really great coaches such as Tony Dungy, Marv Levy. He was a 6-time NFL Executive of the Year. So his experience definitely is, a plus to the search because we all know that George McCaskey knows next to nothing about the game of football. So hopefully this helps us identify the right candidates this time around. But getting into this video, guys, the main thing I want to talk about is all the GM and head coaching candidates that we have requested to interview so far. Keyword is so far because every time I check my phone, we requested to interview another person. Like, we're requesting to interview a lot of candidates so far in the search, which honestly is a good thing that we're expanding our search to such a wide and vast array of names because you don't want to miss out on anybody, guys. There could potentially be a star hidden here and you don't want to miss out on a potential interview with that star. So with all that being said, guys, I'll be going over, all the names that we have requested to interview so far. I'll have more videos out for you guys as more names, go on this list, but I'll go over the head coaching candidates first. So as of 9:27 p.m. Central on January 11th, the Bears have requested to interview defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier from the Buffalo Bills, head coach Doug Peterson, formerly from the Philadelphia Eagles, offensive coordinator Brian Daboll from the Buffalo Bills, offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett from the Green Bay Packers, defensive coordinator Todd Bowles from the Buccaneers, offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, also from the Buccaneers, defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus from the Indianapolis Colts, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn from the Dallas Cowboys, and head coach Brian Flores, formerly from the Miami Dolphins, who just got fired yesterday, actually. Really interesting list of names that they have compiled. If you don't see your favorite just yet, I wouldn't worry at this point because this search is still going to go on probably another week or two, right? So they're still going to interview a lot more people potentially, but as of the time we're recording this, these are the people that they have requested to interview. Now, I'm not going to go over every single name in detail because that would take way too long to go through all these guys in detail, but I'll give you guys a brief overview of each candidate. I'll start by talking about Leslie Frazier, okay, defensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills defense has been very solid this year. They rank #1 in both points allowed and yards allowed as well. So a very solid overall defensive mind. The only problem with Leslie Frazier is that he's over 60 years old. I'm not trying to say that age is a defining factor in this search, but if you're looking for the next bright, innovative mind, Leslie Frazier necessarily won't be that, okay? Now, age and experience is good, but he's also kind of a, agreeable, soft-spoken person, right? So if you want somebody that's going to challenge, the Bears front office, the Bears ownership, Leslie Frazier isn't necessarily going to be that guy. He's a great defensive mind, don't get me wrong, but if you want a guy that's going to transform the franchise, I don't really think that Leslie Frazier is going to be that guy. Could be wrong, obviously, but that's just my opinion, okay? I would probably stay away from Leslie Frazier. The next guy, Doug Peterson, okay, the former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Doug Peterson, guys, has a lot of experience in this league in the Andy Reid coaching tree. Obviously, we already dipped into the Andy Reid coaching tree the last time with Matt Nagy, but I feel like Doug Peterson obviously is a much more successful coach than Matt Nagy because he actually won a Super Bowl with his offensive system, and he actually showed the ability to be able to adjust his system to the strengths of his quarterback, which Matt Nagy really cannot do. And we also have quarterbacks coach John DeFilippo here already. So if you know, Doug Peterson wants to keep him here, that would make sense, right? Because he's already worked with Justin Fields. He worked with, you know, Nick Foles and Carson Wentz in the past. So there is some continuity there. Now, I don't know if Doug Peterson will be my favorite guy because, again, his system is still a little bit too similar to Matt Nagy. There was a reason why he got fired from the Eagles as well. So personally, I would not go this direction, but I think it's worth the interview at least. After that, we got offensive coordinator Brian Daboll from the Buffalo Bills. Now, this is actually a really strong candidate in my opinion. Okay, the Buffalo Bills have had a top 5 offense each of the last 2 years, and he really helped, you know, Josh Allen rebound from having one of the worst rookie seasons for any rookie that year into turning into one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, it's not a guarantee it's going to replicate that success with a different quarterback, but I do think there's a lot of positive things he does in his system. Now, does he pass the ball way too much? Yes, he probably does, but he also doesn't have the running backs, you know, in Buffalo like we do in Chicago. Okay, they have Singletary and Moss up there in Buffalo, which don't compare talent-wise to David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, in my opinion, right? So hopefully he would start to run the football more in Chicago than he already does with the Bills, because he loves to pass the football over and over and over again. But regardless, man, I think he could be a solid option to help Justin Fields develop into being a better quarterback in this league. After that, we got offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett from the Green Bay Packers. If you can't beat him, why not steal from them? Aaron Rodgers loves Nathaniel Hackett. He's talked about how much he's helped him improve over the past 2 years. Now, Aaron Rodgers, granted, already was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, so it's fair to question, you know, how much impact Nathaniel Hackett actually has on this offense. But the facts are the facts, guys, and the Packers have had one of the best offenses in the NFL over the past couple years. It's a really great scheme. They have the highest percentage of wide open passes in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers do, so clearly the scheming is working for Rodgers, and you know, we might as well interview a guy that's been a part of having that success. Talking about defensive coordinator Todd Bowles then. Todd Bowles, guys, helped the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl with how great his defense was last year during 2020. He's definitely one of the smartest defensive minds in the NFL. He already has head coaching experience as well. He was with the Jets, you know, earlier in his career, and he actually helped the Jets have one of their better seasons in recent memory. Okay, he almost made the playoffs during his first year with the Jets. So Bowles could definitely be an option as well. We're going to interview him. After that, we got offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich from the same team, from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I talked about him a lot in my other video, which I released, you know, last week. But Byron Leftwich, guys, also is one of the smarter guys in the NFL. He's a former quarterback. He's helped Tom Brady have a lot of success. Jameis Winston also got a 5,000 yard, 30+ touchdown season out of him. So it's been one of the more explosive offenses in the NFL. I think it'd be a fine pairing, you know, with him and Justin Fields. That could work out pretty well. After that, we got defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus from the Indianapolis Colts. Before Eberflus took over, you know, as the Colts defensive coordinator, the Colts used to have some of the worst defenses in the NFL, and he's made the Colts defense respectable during his time in Indianapolis. Now, he's definitely not my favorite candidate. I feel like he's not as well suited to be the head coach as the other guys are, but I guess it's worth the interview. Okay, so we got Eberflus. After that, we got defensive coordinator Dan Quinn from the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, the Cowboys defense has completely turned around under the leadership of Dan Quinn. He also has success building that Legion of Boom defense back in the mid-2010s. His last head coaching job, though, with the Atlanta Falcons didn't go so well. A lot of choke jobs back then, so, you know, some people will be a little bit worried on him for that reason, but he's still a very strong defensive mind and a guy that a lot of people in this league respect. And lastly, we got former head coach Brian Flores from the Miami Dolphins. I am really surprised, guys, that Brian Flores is actually available for hire during this cycle. He got fired kind of unexpectedly from the Miami Dolphins, and I don't think he should have been fired, guys. He did a great job with the Miami Dolphins team, even though it lacked talent during his time there. He put together a 24-25 record, almost made the playoffs last year, really close to making it this year as well. I know that almost doesn't count for anything, but given the level of talent on his team, I feel like he did a great job in those circumstances. Okay, he's also a big, you know, player accountability discipline guy. So, you know, the Bears players right now, we're always among the top of the league in penalties. I feel like Brian Flores would immediately get rid of that. He's kind of tough on players. He's from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, but a lot of times what you need is a tough coach if you want to win football games. So I think that Brian Flores could be a very, very strong candidate. So those are all the coaches. Let me go over to the GM candidates now that we have interviewed, and I'll read the list of names. There's 8 of them so far. There's Director of College Scouting MOROCCO Brown from the Indianapolis Colts, VP of Football Operations QUESI-ADOFO-MENSAH from the Cleveland Browns. VP of Player Personnel Glenn Cook from the Cleveland Browns. Assistant General Manager Ed Dodds from the Indianapolis Colts. Assistant General Manager Jeff Ireland from the New Orleans Saints. Director of Player Personnel Rand Carthon from the San Francisco 49ers. Former General Manager Rick Smith from the Houston Texans. Assistant General Manager Joe SHOEN from the Buffalo Bills. Now I'm going to go over each candidate very briefly because this video is getting a little bit too long. So starting with MOROCCO Brown, guys, Director of College Scouting from the Indianapolis Colts. He's put together a lot of talent on that Colts team over the past couple years. Okay, he's also been with the Bears in the past, spent 7 years with us from 2001 to 2007 as the Assistant Director of Pro Personnel, and that was the last time the Bears actually were kind of respectable. Okay, we made the Super Bowl in 2006. So really smart guy. He has an eye for offensive line talent. He's helped put together some great offensive lines in Indianapolis, and Indianapolis overall, guys, has a very talented roster. I'm surprised they missed the playoffs. I feel like it was mainly due to Carson Wentz's inabilities as a quarterback. But after that, we got KWESI-ADOFO-MENSAH from the Cleveland Browns. I actually did a lot of research into this guy, reading up on who he is, you know, his history, because a lot of people in the NFL, guys, a lot of smart people are big on hiring this guy. They really want this guy to get a job in the NFL, partly because he's a very forward-thinking person. Now, he is very young, okay, so that might be a red flag. He's only 33 years of age. That might be a turnoff to some people, but he is extremely smart, okay? Graduated from Princeton University, was a director of football research in San Francisco. A big analytics guy, a guy that's a forward thinker, a progressive thinker, and he could be the next genius in the NFL. It's a big risk, obviously, because he doesn't have as much experience as a lot of these other guys do, but sometimes, you know, age and youth can be a benefit to somebody, right? So that could be a very strong candidate. Next, we got Glenn Cook, VP of Player Personnel from the same organization, from the Cleveland Browns. And this guy also, you know, a lot of people are high on. Browns obviously have a lot of smart people in the organization. They've acquired a lot of talent over the past couple of years. Okay, maybe aside from quarterback, I feel like a lot of people are down on Baker Mayfield, but aside from Baker, they have a very, very talented roster, and why not, you know, poach some of the guys that helped build this roster? So Cook could be a strong candidate. After that, we got a very, very strong candidate, Assistant General Manager Ed Dodds from the Indianapolis Colts. Dodds is one of the most respected talent evaluators in the entire NFL. Okay, worked with 10 years with the Seattle Seahawks, building the Legion of Boom defense, helping draft Russell Wilson as well, and recently has worked alongside Chris Ballard to help build together a great roster for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Dodds has denied interview requests for a really long time. If he's, you know, accepting an interview request, that means he was just waiting for a big job like the Bears GM job to open up, and that would be a dream to get a guy as experienced, as successful as Ed Dodds in that role. After that, we got Jeff Ireland, okay, Assistant General Manager of the New Orleans Saints. I know that a lot of people immediately seeing the Saints name are going to be turned off because that's where Ryan Pace came from. He was also a part of the Saints organization, but Ireland is pretty respected, guys, and he has a lot more experience than Ryan Pace did. He's worked for 12 years with the Dolphins, with the Cowboys as well, and recently with the Saints. He's had a lot of success in drafting and in acquiring talent for that team. Okay, the Saints are damn near always a great team, so why not try again? Okay, get a different guy from the Saints organization. After that, we got Director of Player Personnel Rand Carthon from the San Francisco 49ers. On top of having a great beard, he's also a really respected talent evaluator and a guy that's played football as well. He played, you know, on the Colts and also with the Lions, and he also won a Super Bowl with that Colts team. Okay, so a guy that's played the game, knows the game, has experience working in front offices. He's worked with the Falcons, the Rams, with the 49ers, helped draft guys like Daboll Samuel, George Kittle, so I think he could be a really fine option. Next, we got likely my favorite for this job, and that is former General Manager Rick Smith from the Houston Texans. Rick Smith, guys, only is out of a job because he left in 2017 to take care of his wife who was battling breast cancer and unfortunately died. So he just has not been in the league since then. But before that, guys, with the Houston Texans, he was there from 2006 to 2017. He had a lot of success drafting, okay, selecting guys like J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, Mario Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, Dwayne Brown, Brian Cushing, Whitney Marsalis. The list goes on and on. He acquired a lot of talent on those teams, also helped trade for Deshaun Watson. After he left the Texans in 2017, their entire organization really crumbled, okay? They failed to draft well, they failed to acquire talent well, so a lot of people think that Rick Smith still is one of the top minds in football. The only reason why he's not a GM right now is because, you know, his wife died tragically and he left to take care of her. It seems like now he wants to get back in the game. And lastly, we got Joe Schoen from the Buffalo Bills, assistant general manager. Now, you can see, guys, I mean, the Bills have acquired a lot of talent over the past couple years. They traded for guys like Stephon Diggs. They drafted Josh Allen. They have a bunch of playmakers on that team. And if you want the Bears to hire Brian Daboll as head coach, Joe Schoen could be the guy that brings them to Chicago with that connection they had in Buffalo. I think he's also a very strong candidate to keep an eye on. So there you have it, guys. Those are all the guys we have requested to interview so far. I'll have more videos out to you guys in the coming weeks as we request to interview more people and eventually hire one of these guys. But let me know your thoughts down below. Okay, who's your favorite for head coach, for GM as of now? Again, it's super early in the process, but these are all the guys we requested so far. Let's see who else we interview. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, bear down.